Welcome to Redvee TV, supported by A-Star Recruitment for the 2020 season, as we look ahead to the round something clash against the Catalan Dragons this Sunday afternoon at our home stadium of Headingley.
We're back, David. I don't know. I don't care. We're back, David. That's all we need to know.
It is August 2020, isn't it?
It is. It feels like 2020's took about 3 or 4 years to get to this point, doesn't it?
It feels like we're starting again massively. I know we've played 3 or 4 rounds, but it's like a completely different season, isn't it? We've had that much time off. I think we've had longer than we would have had in any off season. So it's like a whole new year. That 3 or 4 game spell didn't really happen, did it?
3 or 4 games? We played more than that.
Did we see that long?
Yeah, it's obviously it's a weird one, isn't it? I mean, the current situation has properly knocked all sports out of kilter. And yeah, it's just good to be back, as you say. It's like an extended off season where, I don't know, with teams such as ourselves who haven't started as well as we could have, it gives us a chance to reset.
It's strange times, isn't it? The players have been back in training for the last 3 weeks. We need to get off to a fast start, don't we?
Yeah, I think that goes without saying. We didn't have the ideal start to the season. When you look at all the games played, obviously we beat Salford first round, but we need to kind of get back to somewhere like 2019's performances. And I don't necessarily think that just sits with the changing coach. I think that sits on the players as well. They're capable of it. I think if we put hand on heart, how many of our top players actually performed to anything like what they're capable of? Did many of them do that in the first 6 or 7 rounds? You potentially argue not.
I think Christian Wolf has spoke a little bit this week, saying maybe there was a little bit of fatigue at the start of the year. Obviously, and with big games rolling round. And obviously, we carried injuries, didn't we, as well? And we never seemed to get that settled squad. What the lockdown has done for us is allowed us to get everybody back. And there shouldn't be really that many excuses now, should there? Once we've played a couple of games, we've got a fully fit squad to choose from. Wolf's had chance to get to know his squad a little bit more. I know we've only had 3 weeks on the training ground, and it's hard to replicate contact. But that said, we should start seeing, you'd hope, the real Saints. There's no square pegs in round holes, is there now? It's basically, this is the squad and this is what we're going to roll with.
Yeah, I think obviously the worry is when you do look at the NRL and they've had injuries when they've come back and there's been some serious ones. You don't want that to befall any player in Super League. But you're right, now we're at the stage that Christian Wolf will know his squad a little bit better. He's had chance in these 3 weeks to kind of see his fully fit squad. Obviously, Luke Thompson's gone, but we've replaced him with James Graham. As I said, this falls on the players and the coach, obviously. There were reasons why we brought him in as coach, because he was doing a great job. He beat the Aussies, didn't he? And he was the right appointment for us. Now he needs to get his message across to the players, and the players need to action that message on how we're going to go forward and how we're going to play. We can't go in with wrestle, because if you start getting pinged for 6 again and 6 again and 6 again, that'll just play against us.
Especially with the fitness at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. So listen, we've got to get somewhere like the 2019 kind of free flowing rugby. Back to that, just be fitter, just be sharper, just be better than everybody else like we were last year.
Yeah, and the good thing is, at least we're playing Catalan, who are usually, touch wood, penalty kings. They like to give away a few, don't they, as well? Just going to try and get a look at the squad, if we can. Let's see what we can do. If the technology works. And there we go. The squad, Kevin. Christian Wolf did say this week we're essentially looking at being at full strength. Only Joseph Paulo misses out through injury. He's got a minor muscle injury. Listen, on paper, that squad, we know it's strong, don't we? And obviously, Luke Thompson now gone, but James Graham down at the bottom of that list.
Yeah, it's good to see that man in the picture back as well, Mark Percival. He's a big player for us, isn't he? Yeah.
Now he's had his haircut.
Yeah, he's a big player for us. But yeah, listen, that's as strong as you're going to get from us. I think 21-man squad wise, you look at the likes of people who've missed out: Jack Ashworth, Matty Costello, who were in the last squad with Percival, Bentley, Batchelor, and Graham coming in. Yeah, there's your players missing. They're your players who haven't been chosen in this, who've made at least one first team appearance for us. So yeah, it's as strong as you're going to get from Saints. And really, if there's a strong team out on the pitch, there should be no excuses with what happened last year for us not putting in a good performance, especially once we all get back up and running again. Yeah,
looking at that squad, it's like, who are the four who are going to miss out? It depends what your line of thinking is. With potentially being a warm day tomorrow, first game back, new rules taking effect, which could sap the energy of the players. Do you go heavy on your forwards on the bench so you can rotate them? You'd assume Aaron Smith will probably be in that 17 so we can spell James Roby, who probably won't do the 80 minutes. Do you even look at, do you give Lewis Dodds some game time, or do you wait till later in the season for that? For me, probably missing out, I would probably go with Wellesby, Batchelor, probably Dodd. Amor, maybe?
I agree with them three. I went through, and I think if you're gonna go heavy on your forwards on the bench will be Matty Leeds, Lou McCarthy, Scarsbrook, Kyler Moore, and then you choose between Aaron Smith and James Bentley. Bentley can play 9. He can spell 9 for a bit if we need him to. He can come in second row, or if, God forbid, we have an injury in the backs, he can fit in there as well. You wonder whether that versatility is going to get him the nod ahead of Aaron Smith. Yeah, we've not seen him train. Listen, Aaron Smith might be training the house down, and they're thinking about starting him ahead of Roby. Who knows?
Yeah. So maybe
you don't know.
Smith, Bentley, Wellesby, Batchelor to miss. Oh, sorry, Smith, Wellesby, Batchelor, and Dodd to miss out then potentially.
Potentially, I think it's one of. If I was picking it just on the basis of names on a sheet, I think I'd be trying to make a decision over Smith and Bentley. As I say, whether Bentley's versatility will get him in, I don't know. But I think you're right with the other three, and the other three will get game time this season. They're going to have to. The games are going to come thick and fast. They're literally all concertinaed up, aren't they? We've not got a week in between games at times. So they will get their chance, and it'll be interesting to see how they go when they do get their chance.
Yeah, who will start in the pack alongside Alex Walmsley? Do you go with the big announcement of James Graham, especially as it's not so long since he's actually played? Or do you use him as an impact player off the bench and start Matty Lees and promote Matty Lees to a starting spot, given his year last year? And he looks like he's bulked up in his time off as well.
Good. That's good to hear. Obviously, with his terrible injury towards the end of last year, that's good to hear that he's. It's almost giving him a little bit more recovery time. That could be good for Saints as well, even though he wasn't out injured. Yeah, he's going to be wanting that contact, but that bit of time, kind of out, forced being out when everybody else might well have done him well. To go back to your question, I would start James Graham at prop. There's been people asking whether he'll play at 13 like he did in the NRL, but I think we've got Morgan Knowles there who does that job perfectly well, and you're not going to drop Morgan Knowles for him to play 13. I would start him at prop because he's probably come over here as fit, as match fit, hasn't he? And I know that might have dropped off because he's had a couple of weeks off, but he's going to be probably a little bit ahead of all the other players, you'd think. So I would start him. I think he'd just slot straight into the starting 13.
Yeah. As we just obviously James Graham, I know we've lost Luke Thompson, but listen, James Graham will come in, and with the standard of this league, maybe hopefully Luke Thompson, it won't be as big a miss as it potentially would be if you lost to Luke Thompson from an NRL side.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah, you'd hope that with us bringing James Graham in, that there'll be no drop-off. But as I said earlier, people are going to get the chance. I mean, you had that list before of players who had missed out on the 21 this week. And we got asked on social media, do we think Matty Costello's played our last game? Because I think it's still rumours that he's signing, that he's leaving the club. There's been rumours around Jack Ashworth as well. Yeah, leaving the club. Listen, all these players have got their part to play. We may see Josh Sim move ahead of Matty Costello, because obviously you're thinking of the future. But if people are struggling, if they've got a little knock, if we've got a game where we think actually we could take out Kevin Nagama or Tommy Makinson for this match, and we're managing players' workloads, all them players and your likes of Rizzelli, Foster, Nisbet and Wingfield, who the others named and actually have squad numbers at the minute, they've all potentially got a part to play this season.
Yeah, and we'll come back to this one in a little bit, but I'll just put the Catalan squad up for now. So, strong as ever, really, isn't it? Obviously, Sam Tompkins misses out. He is suspended after, I think he got sent off, or was it sent off against Huddersfield or cited against them in their last game out? He's missing. David Mead missing, and a couple of others. But yeah, Israel Folau, James Maloney, Josh Drinkwater, Sam Mower, players in that squad who can hurt you.
Yeah, if we're going with players who can hurt you, Mickey McAloran can do that as well, can't
he? Yeah, even in his advanced years, alongside or facing James Roby.
I'm not necessarily on about him being a decent player. I'm on about his disciplinary record. Yeah, but listen,
the joke over my head.
But they have got players. I mean, they play a certain style, and they're probably going to have to change a lot of just having big forwards who, as you alluded to at the start, I think of them giving away quite a few penalties. They can't do that now with 6 again. It'll just absolutely crucify him. Listen, they've started.
Is this new rule, Kev, something that's going to potentially be a negative for Catalan?
Not if they can manage it as like they've taken the past couple of weeks to kind of manage it. Not really.
So if they can clean up the game,
yeah, if they can clean up the game, then no.
It's going to be a negative for them then.
No, they've got enough. They've got enough clever players to kind of take advantage of it, I think. So not necessarily. I think listen, they've started well as well. I think they played only 4. They lost 1 and won 3. I think it was.
Yeah, well, if I pull the league table up now, these are the standings at lockdown.
Yeah. So with
Hull FC have played 7 and Leeds have only played 4.
Yeah, and Catalan have only played 4 as well. So
Toronto haven't played 1.
It's gonna be difficult for teams to get their head around the 6 again. But there'll be coaches who kind of find a way around it, find how to exploit it to the best, because that's what happens in rugby.
Yeah, looking at that league table, we talked about the need to get off to a quick start. For me, the reason that's most important is because in August, we have got the games spread out a little bit.
Yeah.
So if you can get yourself up the table into them top positions where we need to be, then maybe later on, come October time, when you're playing a couple of times a week, you can potentially rotate your squad and potentially not throw games, but you know what I mean? You don't have to go 100% knowing you've got to win.
Yes. Yeah, I think you're right there. It's not throwing games. It's managing your squad. It's seeing who is susceptible to an injury or might have played 3 games inside, I don't know, 12 days or something, and you turn around and say, well,
if you look at those players missing, Kev, who can come in, they're all capable of doing a job anyway at standard. Yeah. So if you can potentially manage your squad, and I think that's what you're going to have to do, especially if you've got ambitions as we have to go and win both trophies. I think you've got to play a silly amount of games. I think it's only 21, 22 games in about 17, 18 weeks.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard.
So any break we can get, any break we can get is good. Any break the players can get is good.
And I know, I think people have talked over the years how hard it is to potentially win the Challenge Cup and then back up in October to win the title, and that's even going to be even harder this time round, you'd say.
Yeah. That's it. It's with, as I said before, the game's concertinaed up. It's going to be tough. This is where a coach is going to earn his money by getting the best out of all of his squad. By even your players who were in the late 20s and 30s shirts, and not on about the likes of Sam Tompkins or your James Graham who's wearing them because they've chosen them all out of necessity. I'm talking about your Josh Sims, your Josh Eves, Lewis Dodd, who have got to come in and perform and picking the right games for them players to come in and have the chance to do that, have the platform.
Obviously, our fixtures this month, we've got Catalans tomorrow, Leeds next week at the same venue. Then we return to the Totally Wicked Stadium for a tie against Wakefield. Then we get a week off before coming back to face Hull KR, Huddersfield and Hull KR again. So there's a good run of fixtures there that we need to basically look at getting, essentially try and get maximum points from.
Yeah, I think that's a given. You have a look at where the teams are in the table. I know, listen, you're looking at that table, there's only 2 points between us and Leeds and us and Catalan, and it'd look a lot rosier if we won both of them games. But I don't think even home advantage is going to be that big. I think it's just going to be whoever adapts to playing in front of closed doors and in front of cardboard cutouts and the like, and just really gets on with the job, because we're not going to have kind of the South Stand band at Leeds going on. You're not going to have the Western Terrace at Saints just singing the boys on, are you?
Well, I believe obviously every club has sold cardboard cutouts. If the Wigan fans have bought a few and they've got their cardboard cutouts there, you probably won't notice a difference in their atmosphere.
No, I've heard they're on wheels as well, so they can just start going on about 70 minutes.
Well, just got a discount for that. Yeah, it's going to be strange not being there, isn't it, and having to sit and watch on TV. But yeah, the clubs have sold these cardboard cutouts, haven't they, for £25 a piece. I seen Saints put up a photo yesterday, and quite a few Saints fans have took advantage of that, and it's good to see, obviously, them supporting the club, because obviously the profits from it do go to support the club, and I think at this moment in time, every penny counts.
Yeah, and that's it. We've had feedback because we've gone ahead and done it. We're in the privileged position that we could. People saying £25 too much, or they're not interested in doing it, and that's absolutely fine. Listen, we know full well that £25 is a lot of money to some. They might think it's too much for the likes of a cardboard cutout. Listen, there's a good-looking fella. How much are you breathing in on that? Looks like you're smuggling a Doberman under that top. Listen, you've got to do what you've got to do. We said this before when we were talking about the season tickets. If you can afford the £25 for one and you want to do it, brilliant. If you can't, there's a handsome man. I'm smuggling a wok under that. Might as well lie in that t-shirt.
Where's the diagonal smile come from?
I think I'd just couldn't be bothered smiling for it, but I didn't want to look like a miserable sod either. It's a new smile I'm trying out anyway.
We should give a prize for somebody who can spot them on the TV.
Well, yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't charge us twice the price for our heads.
I'm still not sure how we fitted them inside them moulds, to be honest. The heads and the bellies.
Fitting inside them moulds was the hardest thing I've ever done. I must have had to take about 200 photos, and that was the best.
God, there must be some shockers.
I might share them at some point, not today though.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah, but that's it. Listen, we keep on talking about people getting behind the club. If it's ordering something from the club shop, if it's ordering face masks, if it's ordering shirts, t-shirts, whatever, playing the Saints lottery, and buying a non-ticketed membership. If you're not a member, you can buy a non-ticketed membership for £20. Listen, there's all ideas out there for people to do.
And listen, the club have tried to help, haven't they, as well? They've obviously come to an agreement with Sky and the RFL that anybody who has got a membership will be able to watch the games using the R League app, even if they've not got a Sky subscription, which is really good because you're going to get your away games in that as well.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing to do, because it does give people who are struggling, and we've been on about it, they might have a season ticket but they might not have Sky. I think that's an absolutely fantastic thing to
do. Other news this week, obviously the Challenge Cup draw has been redrawn, obviously because some teams probably didn't like who they got in the first place. No, but teams have pulled out, haven't they, which has made it more difficult for them to do the competition. It feels a little bit like a forced thing that they've had no choice with. If I can pull it, there's the draw. But we get a week off, which is a bonus.
Yeah, I said before, any break that we can have is great. Listen, you don't want to go out to these competitions, you want to stay in them and win them. But that week off could well be, I know it's not far in, it's only on the 22nd of August, but it might just be one of them where you can take stock, reevaluate. And to be honest, I do feel sorry for Castleford, Hull, Catalans and Wakefield having that extra game while all the teams around you and in your league don't is probably a bit of a kicker. I mean, they could look at it two ways: that they keep the momentum, but also it gives them another week where you can pick up injuries and suspensions.
Yeah, and do you know what? That's a really good point, that, Kev. Could you argue that, do you know what, because they're having to play their extra game, if their team was to pick up a suspension from that game, it shouldn't roll forward?
You could argue that, yeah. I don't know how much water that would hold, but
I think that, to be fair, unless it was something really serious, I think that'd be sending off sufficient, maybe. Because it seems a bit unfair that they've drawn the short straw and having to play an extra game when 8 teams get a bye, or 6 teams get a bye. So yeah, possibly, maybe that's something that could be looked at. But our quarter-final, Warrington away, Mouthwater. Well, Warrington, it's probably not going to be away, is it? Could be anywhere.
Well, even if it is, it doesn't matter, does
it? But yeah,
there'll be no fans in. Well, yeah. Let me just go back to your point about sending off sufficient. A lot of times you get bans for something that's just happened in a game and been missed by a ref when they watch it back. So I'm not entirely sure how that would work. The game, yeah, is mouth-watering. Yeah, we want a bit of revenge for last year. I'd rather have given revenge in the final by beating them. But it's a perfect opportunity. With no fans in there again. Warrington are vociferous fans. If there's no one in there, it's just a matter of who the best team on the day is, without a piggyback of fans giving you that extra lift.
Yeah. I know obviously there was talk of obviously fans being back in the stadiums hopefully towards the end of September, October. Potentially now that might not happen, given the fact that the test pilot events that were due this weekend have been cancelled. It's all a little bit potentially worrying at this moment in time.
It is. It just puts us back. I mean, you have a look at some of the stats of why places have gone into lockdown, and you do wonder why, with some places going from 0 to 1, 2 cases, and they've been put into lockdown. But this is serious, and it is. It's going to be a case. It's going to be a long time before we're back into stadiums. You'd imagine, or before everybody's let back into a stadium. It might just be the trickle effect, and I know, as we spoke about before, Saints have put plans in place of how they could get the members into the ground and how they would socially distance them. But I think it's just puts us back a little bit.
I think for me, if people want life to become back more back to normal, I think they've just got to follow the policies that have been enabled by this government, whether that's wearing a mask when you're outside, going into a shop. Follow things as best you can, because then we'll all reap the benefits. The R rate would go down, and hopefully it'll be safer to get back in the grounds.
Yeah, I just wish the government to be a little bit more clear on what they actually want you to do at times, though. That's another discussion, though, David. As
That's for the Redvee political show that will launch very shortly, isn't it? But yeah, we will talk once again tomorrow. We will do an instant fan reaction after the match, and we're hoping potentially on Monday or Tuesday night to maybe do like a final word type show with guest fan appearances, and we can have a chat about the weekend gone and moving forward. Yeah. And I believe, Kevin, you're going to finish off by picking up that guitar behind you and giving us a little bit of a sing-song.
Yeah, I'll give you a tune in a bit. Yeah, not just yet. I mean, I've not warmed my voice up enough.
All right. We're getting back to it though, aren't we? But yeah, great to be back, isn't it?
It certainly is.
Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. And we will catch you on Sunday after 6 p.m. for the instant fan reaction show. Kev, have a good weekend. Stay safe.
You too, David.
And we'll have a good game watch tomorrow. Don't know.
That'll do.
Catch you soon.